Ow. Ow! I actually hurt hell. Oh, sorry. Oh. So, random thoughts on schizophrenia versus spirit guides. It's a little bit different than most people would assume, I think. I have a feeling most people would assume spirit guides are like schizophrenia in that the people exhibiting spirit guides either are schizophrenic or that there is no separation between spirit guides and schizophrenia in that there is no separation. That is, in my opinion, not correct. Spirit guides, in my experience, have a consistent, calming, down to earth tone. When the psychosis does, in fact, take you, there is a distinct sense of something being wrong that you cannot put your finger on. There is something distinctly off with the world. And even during the height of my break, my guides continued to be of the note of calming. They continued to talk in a way that was designed to elicit calmness, and they at no point exhibited the violence that I sometimes see associated with the spirit. They had no desire for it. It was not of them. And I even got a few very hope-filled hallucinations from the spirit guides at my worst point. And I still remember them because of what a level of hope and love they elicited in me. They felt like angels trying to stop a person attacked by demons from harming themselves, because the demons actually cannot harm them, only scare them. That is what it felt like. It feels better than an internalized, always loving parent figure, which can in fact turn to schizophrenia. I know that from experience. Now, during these breaks from reality, there is a very distinct sensation which I'll share with you, which I hope by me sharing you will be able to identify should it ever approach you. It feels like there's a burning sensation inside you. That is the only way I can explain it. Like there is this burning sensation. It's like in the beginning, it feels like your mind is clouded, but it doesn't stay there. It starts to feel more and more oppressive until it literally feels like your mind is on fire. And this isn't caused by any individual thing, because by the point where your mind starts to feel like it's literally on fire, everybody notices and is trying to help you. So if it were caused by a single individual doing something to you, in that it is a real magician really attacking you, which has happened to me, the thing that is different from a psychotic episode is that when an outsider looks at you, it is in fact relatively easy for them to notice whether or not something is attacking you or whether you're attacking yourself. It is especially for somebody who has seen both options from the spirit, it is relatively easy and straightforward. So, the sensation you get is akin to tiredness, but it feels more awake. Like the fraying of your mind that happens when you're tired. Your mind feels like a frayed cloth. It feels like that, but with awakening, in that you feel like a frayed piece of cloth, but you're becoming more and more awake. And the frayed sensation, the tired sensation, eventually turns your mind into mush. And for me, one of the only reasons why I am still alive is my spirit guides. Had I not had the fortune of having good guys as well, then there would have been nothing good for me in the storm. And so the universe never takes something from you without giving something in return. When it takes your mind, it manifests people who will guide you back to it. Which is why in the hallucinogenic circle, there is a saying, the only bad trip is the trip from which you return as the guy you went into the trip as. To paraphrase. If nothing in you changes when from your perception the laws of physics go strange, then there is perhaps some cause to ponder what is wrong with you. If insanity around you doesn't evoke a sensation of insanity within, in that you can go to the realm of chaos, to the depths of the space of insanity, and return as a completely normal mortal, there is perhaps something deeply wrong with you. I believe people who treat schizophrenics and psychotics would greatly benefit from having at least one psychotic break, so that they know what it is like to be in a psychotic break. It is not that it is impossible to convince you that you are wrong. It is just impossible to convince you that abandoning your personal timeline in favor of society's timeline is a smart move. Convincing you of that may be impossible, because there is often, but not always, such a deep-seated hatred for culture's norms at the point where you literally go schizophrenic. You usually, but not always, have some sort of deep issue with society. And by the time you go schizophrenic, you have lived with your issue with society for most of your life. And you have seen for yourself with your own eyes that society is, for the most part, not a very loving place. That despite how doctors and healthcare professionals, etc., would like to make it out to be, in that your view that society is an evil place is a medical maladaptation. It is the reality. Society is not a kind place. Most of us do not help each other, like ever. When you do notice somebody helping you, it is the rare phenomena. That is, once again, directly provable by the fact that we had a less efficient ideology geared towards everybody getting a good life standard, and a more efficient ideology geared towards basically the rich getting a good life and the rich one. If you believe there is some kind of divine savior from above coming to help you, you are basically psychotic. And many of the healthcare workers simply believe that the world is a good place, and they are, in my view, psychotic. The world is not a good place. It's not a bad place either, but it's definitely not a good place. It's a place of laws and agreements on who gets to be thrown out to make sure that the people staying inside have the best luxuries available to them. And saying that you feel the world is an unjust place and that life isn't always easy is one of the things that will trigger the doctors. They usually are of a social group that has succeeded in everything they put their mind to and see as the only thing stopping others from being the same some kind of internal thing, so that essentially it becomes the if you are healthy in that your mind is not clouded by these conspiracy thoughts and such, that you will be able to accomplish anything. They believe the American dream, which makes me believe they are actually asleep. They believe that to believe that the world is a evil place in and of itself, which I don't believe, but to believe that the world is an evil place is to be psychotic. That is their basic tenet of belief, which to me greatly resembles the Christian view of if you suffer, it is just you doing something wrong, instead of if you suffer, you are living in a society which does not accept you. They, for the most part, the doctors come from the successful long-term lines of humanity which have always succeeded in what they set out to do. And there are those doctors who come from poor or impoverished backgrounds where they happened to be the first in their line to get to anything resembling a good public life, but they are a rarity. A lot of the doctors are so determined to believe and convert others into the belief that universe is good and the only thing making it bad is human interaction, that it becomes pointless. But to return to the point at hand, the main difference between spirit guides and schizophrenia is that spirit guides are, I would say, not in the business of telling you ever to do something. Their business is to be present and allow you to reflect on if you do this, how would they react in an internalized manner, so that you have an internalized version of certain people, certain archetypes, and you can test internally how they react in the external world. That is basically the function of the spirit guide, kind of like Jiminy Cricket. Their job isn't to tell you not to do or to do something. Their job is to show you how they would react if you did something. And in that, the value of them is in their honesty. If they lie about how they'll react and you do something and the reaction doesn't fit with your internal model, why would you keep your internal model? And in other words, why would you not kill the voice which lied to you? So the spirits benefit greatly from being truthful because they aren't expected to reveal any secrets or do anything like that. They are expected to be internal playthings reflecting the external world. Thus, even in the darkest moments, it would be appropriate for your spirit guides to remain honest, while schizophrenic voices rarely benefit from honesty. Their addiction seems to be to get you riled up. It's like a game of chicken in a way. They try to get you riled up just so they can get you riled up. They are what most people in society are like, dopamine addicts. They are addicted to the reaction that you give them, which is why dopamine and serotonin blockers work against schizophrenia, but don't work against spirit guides. When I take my antipsychotics, I am for a while very noticeably not agitatable. I do not respond to the dopamine loop. That is why, for example, on these meds, it would be very difficult, if not outright impossible, to work for things like schedules and stuff like that. But they have very little to no influence on my spirit guides because there is a difference in the method that the thought gets its reward. The spirit guides get their reward from being truthful and guiding you to understand how the person in the external world would react to your thoughts in the internal world. While the schizophrenic voices can be described as dopamine addicts, their benefit comes from getting energy. These are both models to get energy, but the dopamine addicted spirit benefits from any response that you give them, whether it is love or hate or disgust or approaching or whatever. They will always benefit, while the spirit guides benefit from nothingness perhaps the most. They would benefit from you seeking out the real version of the spirit guide rather than keeping it as an internal, which is why their functions are radically different. I thought that pointing that out might be worth a few moments of your time. So as I said, spirit guides benefit from basically telling you how the person that the guide is modeled after would react and very little else, and allow you to play internally with the thought, while schizophrenic voices do not in general benefit more from a loving or hating response. They react with the same amount of force no matter what you do. So, in short, there you have it. Spirit guides are different than schizophrenic voices, but that is as much as I can put into it. So I hope that answered some of your possible questions about this. That's my closing thought on this. So thank you for watching.